Explorer mode. Think we need to get a bit cynical here. Welcome guys back to my video. I am going to make this into a bit of a series, and I think I'm going to call it Let's Be Cynical, because I'm quite a cynical person. But I will be making some positive videos. There will be positivity, but I'll do that in separate videos. But in this video, I'm going to be cynical. I am going to be rather critical of a feature in Final Fantasy XIV in its next patch. I think it's 5.4, so it is a major patch. So in this, we'll discuss Explorer mode. So Square Enix has announced they will be dropping a content called Explorer mode, which from the read of it allows players to visit dungeons they've done before, and I believe at the moment it's just going to be Shadowbringers at the moment, but you can just go in to those dungeons by yourselves, and I think perhaps with a party group, maybe with a bigger group. I'm not too sure yet if it's a group of 4 or a group of 8 that can go in, but that's besides the point. This allows the players to go into a dungeon that's completely empty of any mobs, any items, anything in there. So it's purely, you go in, you get to see the dungeon in instance artwork and just view it, which in itself isn't a bad thing, and actually quite welcomes such an idea such as that. But again, this is where I be cynical. So with Final Fantasy XIV, my gripe has always been that the game has been lacking a lot of combat PvE content, and I keep driving this home multiple times, and it's quite frustrating. So we see Square Enix actually dropping a piece of content which is just void of anything. They market the content as a place where you can take screenshots and take group selfies. To me, that's not content. That is fluff content which you can add on the side, but they're marketing it as a major feature of a patch, which tells me that something went off the cutting block and we still have less PvE combat content, and this has taken that place of one. So what could have been a new dungeon or a new piece of combat content, we don't have that because of this. If people assume that this wouldn't have taken any of that resources, unfortunately, in my honest opinion, with Square Enix, they are making directive decisions to what is included in the game and per patch content and the resource that they devote to it. So the fact that this is in is something that they want to implement in a strong way, but I don't think they've committed all the way. They've only included it for a couple of dungeons so far before they start expanding on it, which tells me they want to see feedback before they fully commit to it, which is another problem in itself. Square Enix, come on please, Square Enix, if you're going to add something, go all the way with it. If you need to delay a feature like this to make sure it's fully seated, like you can do every dungeon in the game from the get-go, that's what you should be doing. If it gets delayed by a whole expansion, then delay it by a whole expansion please. We can be patient for content like this to be added whenever you want, ideally, and not at the cost of something. Like I said, obviously something went off the chopping block for this. It might not have been PvE combat content. Unfortunately, this is kind of the pattern Square Enix has gone. As you might notice, we get one dungeon per patch and still the same amount of trials that they've done so far for the last few expansions. Kind of wish it went to 3 per patch, but we can only dream. And the thing that gets me the most about this, and it's something I've had a discussion with actually some of my free company members as well. So they're being a disagreement with me, that's fine, it's always good to have a discussion. But when anyone of any profession does something, especially in a skill-based profession like software developing, like Square Enix is at its core, the development staff should be getting better at each content they release or expansion as it goes along. So in my honest opinion, when you get better at something, it's not just improving the quality of said content and its presentation and its feel and experience, which I do think the quality is getting better, but I think that's more of a byproduct of the developers just doing it more. However, that also means you should be getting faster at doing it as well. People may argue that you just only get better at it. No, I disagree. Not only do you get better at said whatever that you do, you also get significantly quicker at doing it as well, or just faster in general. So we have a development team that obviously, like, each content they do does get better, but I don't think that's a result of them cutting back content and focusing on less. That tells me that they're not very good, or they're not getting any better as developers, or in my honest opinion, they're actually rotating staff in and out doing this, because there's a presumption that Final Fantasy XVI has the Heavensward team that developed that expansion making Final Fantasy XVI. So is this an indication that Square Enix is actually rotating its staff in and out for each thing that they do, that they develop? So I'm not talking about the lead of that team or that particular type of development. I'm talking about anything below that develops that and gets integrated and included into the game or software that they make. Because not only should the quality that we are getting now should be expected, but they should be able to do it quicker as well, so we not just get the 1 dungeon, we should be getting 2 or back to 2 that we before, so they should be getting better at it, no? Because better also means quality and speed, because how else could you measure that? I mean, if you look at other things like sports, for example, getting quicker at doing something is also a measure of being better at it, as much as people would disagree with that. No, I'm getting too much into that, but that is my honest opinion. So I don't seem to get why we're still with this lack of PvE battle content per patch. We're still getting some of the big core stuff included, but I don't know, something tells me if they're going in this direction still, something's going to be off for the cutting block for that ultimate that I haven't granted participated in yet. We still not in the game yet. It's still not in Shadowbringers at this particular moment in time. I'm assuming we're only going to get the 1 ultimate this whole expansion. Of previous, I think we had 2, but they were going to include 3. So we can see they struggling somewhere, but are we really assuming they're struggling? Or are they being told to divert their resources to other things and more of those other things? But my irk with that is, every time they kind of add something, it gets abandoned. Instead of fully evolving it. Only a few things they've kept on and continue evolving, like the Golden Saucer. But I don't know, it gripes me that they will abandon other new type of content which to fall through and don't fully commit to, and the result of that we lose solid PvE content, more of it. So that's my gripe with the inclusion of Explorer mode, that they had the resources and devoted time to include this in the game at an obvious cost. Because this isn't my type of content for me to be involved in, just go into an empty dungeon and take screenshots. Not my thing. Granted, it's play based, it is a strong amount of people that do that sort of thing, but I do think Square Enix really needs to go back to diverting resources to other things that you can do at max level. Boja front, I'm just going to call it the Boja front. I like it. My gripe with that is it's mostly a max level content thing. You can enter at level 70 at this stage, which I'm like, come on, please commit to more specifically max level content, Square Enix, please. Because when you're doing group content in Boja's front and you have level 70 players, if I recall, I'm only assuming that the scaling isn't perfect to match that, so stuff takes longer, unfortunately. Thanks. But I would like Square Enix to start including more max level stuff to get your teeth into per expansion at this particular stage. I'm hoping once Final Fantasy XVI is launched, or close to launch, we can see a little bit more commitment and resources per segment of the type of content that we get per patch in Final Fantasy XIV. Because I still love the game. I love the content, like the battle content that we get, and I love the class design that we have. It's just a shame that we don't get to exploit that, and Square Enix still includes and adds content which they don't look like they fully commit to. In my honest opinion, waste a lot of resources to do, especially when there's more wanting type content, or they're not expanding on other content that they already have in the game, like Diadem for example. Yeah, you're fixing it, or you fixed it, but you haven't expanded on it further. So if you're going to do something Square Enix, commit to it for the long haul. Don't put it in a back burner. Expand on it more, not just fix or adjust the direction of that content more. Just commit to it, Square Enix. Let's see more of what you can do per segment per type of content that we get. If you have any thoughts, comments, put them down below. Like, dislike if you want. Again, it's a Cynical video, I'm expecting more dislikes, but let me know what you think in the comments below, and next video might hopefully be more of a positive topic that we talk about either Final Fantasy XIV or World of Warcraft, and see you then.